and I'll be asking you all a few questions. If you know the answer, please text so that we know, because we'll be sending some online prizes, I
Yes,
suppose.
yes, 100%.
Father Leon Cruz, the organizer, will send us some online prizes if you get all the answers right. Now,
Okay, before we begin, I am Father Leon Rodriguez, and this is Father Bosco Carvalho. And we have a host also with us, Father Leon Cruz Ratinam. And we are going to animate you all today. We are going to have a lot of fun. Let's start.
okay. So the game that we are going to play is guess the plant. Now I'm going to show you a plant. You tell me which plant this is. Can you all see the plant? Roya. Okay. Somewhat closer to it. Look at the leaves and identify. No one? Okay, I'll give you the answer. It's called an inch plant. My biology is horrendous. Need to go back. No, okay, don't worry, don't worry. I'll give you the answers. You don't have to tire yourself. Now, this is called an inch plant because after every 1 inch, the leaf comes out. No worries, we have a second one.
Wow, look at this.
All those succulent. Okay, it's somewhat close to the answer, but it's not the right answer. I don't know.
Lena Rodriguez says, I don't know.
Okay, I don't think anyone's getting the answer. Now I'll tell you the scientific name, Curiothalinoides. But don't worry, we can also call it PV health. So that's it. That's the second one. This is the third one.
Ooh. Ooh.
Uparle. Money plant. Yeah, that's the right answer. That's the money plant. That's right. That's also called devil's ivy. All right. So that's the one. Okay. The next we have this famous plant. Just show the leaves.
Leaves. Let's watch the leaves. Let's look at the leaves.
And take a look at the leaves and guess which plant it is. Anyone?
What plant is this? Come on.
Okay. If you take a look at the leaves, you'll get a clue to it. No idea. Okay. The idea is, the answer is, it's a zebra plant. Look at the leaves. Nah?
Wow, white and black.
It's a zebra plant. Anyways, last we have this one. Now you need to get this one. You just look at the leaves.
Look at the leaves. Tan, ta-dan. You see the leaves?
Anyone? Tea plant. Oh my god. This is
This is tea. This is a
This is
plant.
not tea.
We don't add this together.
Okay, now this is called it's a green leaf with pink dots on it. Mint. No, it's not mint. It's called flamingo plant.
Wow.
So these are the ones. Anyways,
Ooh.
I do not know whether anyone got all of it right, but that's the small activity that we have before we begin this evening's session. Over to Father Leon Cruz.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Today, we are going to focus on Laudato Si. Laudato Si was written by Pope Francis in the year 2015, and it has been 5 years. We are celebrating the fifth year anniversary, and Pope Francis has declared this year as the year of Laudato Si. And we have some interesting speakers today. The first speaker we have today is Father Wyman Gonzalez. He's a Salesian priest. He has done his doctorate in philosophy of science modernization in ecology. So Father Wyman, please, over to you.
Tech issues. It's 5 years since Laudato Si was published, and 5 years down the line, we are still grappling with so many issues. Climate change tops the list, deforestation, you name it, and the issues have only worsened, so to say. We are connected. We are connected, though, thanks to this encyclical, this document that has come from the Pope, and we are invited to, share about these environmental issues, these ecological issues that are sort of impacting our very existence, so to say. There is a little danger with being connected like this on this digital platform, because it doesn't really help. We just can't be armchair environmentalists, or we just can't be desk-based ecologists. We need to really go out there and find out for ourselves personally, how ecologically conscious am I? And it begins right at home. It begins right at home. There was this little so to say quiz program, naming of plants and all that thing. But I wonder how many of us even have a succulent growing at home, because that is our connection with nature. And probably many of us don't. Many of us don't. Though we are aware of so many issues that are all around the news. In fact, just this morning, when I was putting some thoughts together, I came across this promo for GeoGlass. And GeoGlass is going to retail soon. I don't know, 15K or 14K per piece. And what's GeoGlass going to do? GeoGlass is going to make us once again sit at home or wherever we are, and so to say, stay disconnected with our environment, with our natural environment. Because there was one of the taglines there that said, teaching geography the old way is going to be history. But that's not good. That's not good for us who are dealing with real issues, and especially how we are impacted by nature during this pandemic that's going on. Let's keep ourselves really, aware of how genuinely connected we are with our natural environment. And that is when, at an extremely personal level, you and I can, boldly say, yes, I have done this much. One enemy that all of us have right in our homes is plastic. And we cannot beat this enemy. But we have to learn more and more to live with it. Like how some wise person said, we have to learn to live with this virus. And we are coping. We are coping in wonderful ways. So also with plastic, to be aware that there's so much of junk around us. Can we at least start at home? Can we at least start at home? That is where, I begin to become conscious of, so to say, my carbon footprint. These are terms that all of us sort of bandy around, but then we need to really understand that these terms really have an impact. Laudato Si has challenged us and continues to challenge us to really get involved in whatever issue that I face in my home, an environmental issue. Could be quality of air, could be quality of water, the basics. And that is when you and I will be able to, contribute something. Otherwise, we'll have a lot of stuff on these digital platforms, which sort of promises us to be connected, but doesn't really hit the real issue and doesn't really impact our involvement with so many of these environmental issues that are going on right next door, right. So you can put it right outside our door. So let's hope that as we go through this difficult period where most of us are probably homebound, that right where we are, we can make a difference. We can make a difference, and we make a difference at home with our own lives. And then that is what really spreads, and that is what Laudato Si actually wanted and still wants us to do, to really be involved at the personal level. That's when change begins to happen. Right. Father Leon, are you on? Are you online?
Yes, I'm online.
Yeah, Leon. That's basically what I want to share. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the Vyman.
Thanks.
I think there is some issue. There are many who want to get admitted, but somehow they are not able to enter. Yeah, so I've been getting many messages. Hope they are able to enter. Anushka, has she come? Anushka, Sister Melissa.
Yeah, am I audible? Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So next we have Sister Melissa D'Souza. She's a Salesian sister who is passionate about the environment. She will be sharing some practical tips for us. Sister, you can speak for 10 minutes.
So good evening, everybody. As Father Leon has told us about this encyclical, Laudato Si and the Laudato Si here, permit me to just read 2 sentences from here. The first one is, everyone's talents and involvement are needed to redress the damage caused by human abuse of God's creation.
Sister
one
Melissa,
point is
little
clear,
more louder.
there is damage done. Yes.
Sister Melissa, little more louder. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, I'm just reading a line. Now am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Melissa.
Yes, Tisha, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I was just thinking of, I'm just reading a line from Laudato Si, Article 14. Everyone's talents and involvement are needed to redress the damage caused by human abuse of God's creation. So one point is clear, there is damage done to God's creation, and the second is by human abuse. The next point is all of us can cooperate as instruments of God for the care of creation, each according to his or her own culture, experience, involvements, and talents. So the next point is, irrespective of who we are, irrespective of our age, our culture, our state, our language, our religion, all of us can contribute to repair the damages that we ourselves have caused. Now, if we speak about ecology, we usually speak about these 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. And many have added many more R's to this. But I want to speak about one R called refuse. Now, to make myself clear, I want to share an incident. We had a program in school and we had to buy some prizes. So I went with a young teacher to Panjim to buy our prizes. So then we came across a shoe shop. So she asked me, sister, can I enter? And I said, yes. So when we entered the shoe shop, she took a liking to a pair of shoes. And then since she didn't get her number, she asked for hers. And then she wore them, she walked around, she looked at herself in the mirror. She was quite satisfied, no? She was quite happy. You could see the smile on her face. Now, this went for around 20 minutes. I was impatient, like I was just waiting to get back home. After the 20 minutes, she said, Sister, let's go. And that too without a pair of shoes. So I was quite surprised. I said, what happened? You didn't take the pair of shoes. She said, what to do, sister? That is not my need. It is only my want. It is my desire. And then I realized that we all need to differentiate between our needs and our wants. Our human wants are just simply unlimited, but our needs are very few. And each moment, if we can question ourselves, do I need the AC right now? Or do I need to take the lift to the first floor? Or do I need to accept this plastic bag from the shopkeeper? Or do I need to take my bike to the shop that is close by? So each time if I question myself, do I need this or do I want this? If I'm be able to distinguish well between my needs and my wants and focus on my needs, I think a lot of the environmental issues would be solved. Now I want to offer you a cap. I don't know if you can see the cap. Okay, I'm offering you a cap this evening. Now what is this cap all about? The first C. This is the first C. Okay, courage. Now, what is this? Why do we need courage? Actually, we need courage for anything and everything in life. But now, connected to this topic of ecology, there are many of us, including myself, who like to speak, who like to preach, who like to write on this topic of ecology. But when it comes to do something, we really lack this courage. I'll give you an example. In school, I'm a teacher in school, and we have an eco club. Now, in this eco club, we have regular meetings for the children. We keep telling them, you can do this, you can do that, with a lot of passion. And so one day we went for a field trip. Now we went to a little stream, and as we were spending some time there, we saw a man. I guess he was a Hindu. He was just coming from puja with a garland in a plastic bag, and he put that in the stream. Now, when I saw it, I got upset, but I did not do anything. After some time, we saw another man walking up with that same garland, plastic bag. He was about to throw it in the stream, and guess what? A child went up to him and said, Sir, please do not throw the plastic bag in the water. And all of us just looked at him. But see, I did not have the courage. I didn't have the courage to speak. But this boy had the courage to do something that he believed in. So, especially when we're talking about this environment, what is very important is courage to do, courage to stand for what is right, courage to take the right step. The next, uh, the next word of the cap is anger. And you will think, sister, you're telling us to get angry. Anger is an emotion which has a lot of energy with it. Now, with this emotion, we can do a lot. We can either destroy or we can build. Now, look at this Greta Thunberg. She was angry, very angry, because of what adults had done to destroy, to bring about this climate change. She was angry and she took a step. And you see how many followers she had. Let me also tell you about an incident that happened in Goa a few days ago. There was this man who killed two snakes, and very proudly he took a video, and this video went viral. Now, surely there must have been some animal lovers who got angry, and they were so angry that they took this case further on, and this man had to pay a fine of 10,000. But I was thinking, in the name of development, our political leaders are cutting down or rather killing trees. And what are we doing? Trees are the most important things for us today. They give us the most basic requirement, oxygen. Are we getting angry enough to stand up to these sources who destroy, who destroy the environment? All of us need to be a little Greta Thunberg. As Father Wyman said, in our own families, we need to be Greta Thunberg. I know of one sister who went home for holidays and she brought her nieces and nephews together and taught them about segregation. She's back to the convent, but these nephews and nieces of hers are wonderfully doing the job of segregation. So can I be a Greta Thunberg in my own place, in my own family, and wherever I work? The next part of the cap is perseverance. Now, perseverance again is needed in any field. We need to persevere in whatever we are doing. But especially in this field of ecology, now I feel perseverance is really needed because we easily tend to get discouraged. Now, as I told you, I'm in a school and we have separate dustbins in school, one for glass, one for plastic, one for paper. And throughout the month, you tell the teachers, you tell the clerks, you tell the peons, you tell the children, you scold some, you really have to shout at some. But at the end of the month, you feel it's not segregated well. And then you get so fed up, you say, just forget it, let it be. How much do I have to tell? But no, perseverance is important, because if we don't persevere, then what about the damage that's done? There'll be still further damage that's done. Now, each action of ours needs to be questioned. Each action, am I building or am I destroying? Now, you, the youth, have a lot of power. I believe in the power of youth. Do believe in something and think of doing something, I'm sure you can make a big difference. Now, last time when we heard the talk, it was God saying, the Holy Father telling us, the youth, you are the now of God. But you are just not the now, you are the future. You are the future of our state, you are the future of our country, you are the future of our world. And if you don't take a stand for your future, who else will? Let us all work together. Okay, let us work together. You youth, especially, let us work together to care for God's creation. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Sister Melissa. Thanks for the very passionate talk that you gave. We next have Anushka Vegas. We have one youth with us, Anushka Vegas. So, Anushka, she is pursuing her MBA at Symbiosis, and she has a background in neuroscience. And today she is going to speak to us about how can I be a good mentor, sorry, a good ancestor. How can I be a good ancestor by making small changes to my everyday life? Anushka?
Okay, good evening, Father, and good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it's a pleasure to speak here. So for starters, so I spent I do a background in neuroscience, but I've spent the last 3 years working at Green Line, which is a Don Bosco organization, and we've been involved with a lot of environmental education. Now, what the point of me giving you this background is, so when I came out from my when I finished my uh, my my education, at least when I'd done my master's, I'm going back to study actually. So when I come out from my first master's, it's very, you come out with a lot of energy, at least in my case. And I'd studied about the environment, about the ecology, and I also, like, as someone who studied neuroscience, I also learned how being in constant contact with nature helps you as an individual. Like, it gives you, we've you if you've already realized, is during, especially during this lockdown period, there's been a lot of emphasis on mental health, and for years we've never spoken about it. But there's a direct correlation between mental health and your closeness to nature. The more close you are to nature, the better mental health you will have, which should be common sense, because if you realize, the more industrialized we've become, the more you realize, the further we've gone away from nature, living in the city, the more occurrence of depression, of suicide. You have these trends happening simultaneously as we are distancing ourselves from nature. So there is a correlation between the two, or there may be a correlation, and there is some science that says that there is a correlation. So coming out, like, as a 21-year-old, I was a little, like, when you're 21, when I was 21, I was really, like, you're angry, like, why exactly, like, there is a correlation, why aren't you saving nature? And as I've grown older, I've realized that, so when when you are an environmentalist, you need to first learn how to, it's easy to, I mean, you have to learn how to take care of yourself. You have to learn, because if you realize, if you go back and review your own life, you will realize that we've all been a bad environmentalist at some point in time. Like, we have consumed items that are not recyclable. We have consumed items which you didn't realize it was the consequence of your action when you were younger, and sometimes that comes to haunt you. So the first step was, I learned how to be a little more I mean, I learned how to be a little empathetic towards myself. Now, once you learn to be empathetic towards yourself, that's when your fight starts. That's when I realized that, if I want to change the world, I have to look at myself. Like, the first what I did was I did a waste audit, and I keep on and I didn't just do one waste audit. I keep on doing it. So what a waste audit is, it's a lot like your financial audit. You look at what trash you've generated. Like I look at my whatever trash I generate. Like, okay, the wet waste can be composted, the dry waste can be segregated into paper that goes for recycling, or plastics, which I mean, the plastics can go to recycling by themselves, and tip and glass. And accordingly, you can change your own consuming, your way you consume. Like if you realize you have a lot of biscuit wrappers, you can reduce the number of biscuits you consume. The second, now once also the point is you have to consistently do this, not every day, but say once a year or once every 6 months, because you need to keep yourself in check. Another thing I did is I mean, I went a little further, and I even went on to check how many clothes I use. I mean, we live in a consumerist society. We are told you have to consume more, you have to consume more. And I'm not going to go into the debate whether that is ethical or not, but if we are in this cycle, there's no point in starting the blame game. You have to figure out how you fit in that cycle. So I've reduced the amount of items I consume. Like I don't consciously go out to shop because I have a full cupboard, and most of my cupboard is, I mean, they're good items. You don't need to change it that often. And lastly, like the point, like a lot of us, like the nature we have today, it's not brand new. The air that we're breathing, the water that we're drinking, that's been there for very long. That's the same water and the same air that our ancestors have been using. So I want to leave with this question: is what kind of ancestor will you be when your grandkids, when your great grandkids are on this planet? They'll be still drinking the same water that you are drinking currently. They'll be still breathing in the same air that you are breathing. What kind of legacy are we leaving behind? Now we can't change the system, but we all can do at least one. We can all at least strive to be 1% better than we are today. And I'd like to end with that.
Anushka, thank you very much. It was a very inspiring, short and sweet talk. Thank you. And now we are back to our two great personalities who will do something special for all of us this evening.
So, my dear friends, as we come to the, let's say, close or summation of this beautiful theme on ecology and youngsters and ecology, we'll sing this song by Paul McCartney, no? Love Song to the Earth. Now, if you can see the lyrics, it's pasted on the chat over there. If not, you can also check it on your mobiles. We'll be singing it from here. You can also sing it along. All right. It's a simple and a nice tune. All right. So, Love Song to the Earth. Let's dedicate this song to our nature, to our Mother Earth. This is an open letter from you and me together. Tomorrow's in our hands now. Find the words that matter, say them out loud, and make it better somehow. Looking down from up on the moon, it's a tiny blue marble. Who'd have thought the ground we stand on could be so fragile? This is a love song to the earth. You're no ordinary world, a diamond in the universe. Heaven's poetry to us. Keep it safe, keep it safe, keep it safe. 'Cause it's our world, it's our world. It's not about possessions, money or religion, how many years we might live, when the only real question that matters is still a matter of perspective. Looking down from up on the moon, it's a tiny blue marble. Who'd have thought the ground we stand on could be so fragile? This is a love song to the earth. You're no ordinary world, a diamond in the universe, heaven's poetry to us. Keep it saying, keep it saying, keep it saying, 'cause it's our world, it's our world.
So thank you, Fathers Bosco and Leon. Now we'll go into our group discussions like last time. So all of you would have got a message on your WhatsApp. Yeah? If you did not get a message, let me know of the new group that you're going to join. So you'll be divided into small groups, and as per the group, you will be having your group discussion. Now there are two questions that you'll be discussing in your groups. Yeah, one question is, both these questions are taken from Article 14 of Laudato Si. The first question is, everyone's talents and involvement are needed to redress the damage caused by human abuse of God's creation. Yeah. So this is a sentence from Laudato Si, Article 14. So what we will be discussing is, how can my talents, my involvement bring about a change? Yeah. The second one is, all of us can cooperate as instruments of God for the care of creation, each according to his or her own culture. So our question would be, what is good in my culture that cares for creation? So we meet in our groups, and if there is any problem, please contact me.